Welcome to Star Wars Transmissions. I'm Dan. Among the myriad of reasons as to why I love Star Wars Rebels, Ezra Bridger is atop that list. His growth from a thief and con artist, scraping by in the streets of Lothal, to an amazing Jedi Padawan is something I just can't get enough of. And, like many Star Wars fans, he's quickly become a beloved character for me. So, let's discuss 5 interesting facts about the badass Jedi Padawan, Ezra Bridger. Number 1. The biblical and pop cultural influences in Ezra's creation. According to the StarWars.com blogger James Burns, Ezra Bridger was named after the Old Testament character Ezra, who was a Jewish scribe that returned from Babylonian exile and reintroduced the Torah in Jerusalem. Star Wars Rebels creators Simon Kinberg and Dave Filoni also confirmed that Ezra and several characters in Rebels were named after historical and biblical characters in order to imbue their names with a sense of meaning and purpose that would fit their characters. Hera Syndulla, for instance, was named after the ancient Greek goddess Hera. Kanan Jarrus' name was a reference to the biblical land of Canaan, and Sabine Wren's name comes from the Sabine women of the Roman Empire. Additionally, Ezra Bridger's character drew inspiration from Ralph Macchio's character, Daniel LaRusso, from the 1984 film The Karate Kid. The hair is a dead giveaway. Sweep that damn leg. Number 2. Ezra's early life was wrought with hardship and sadness. Ezra Bridger was a human Force-sensitive male from the Outer Rim planet of Lothal. He was born on Empire Day in 19 BBY, which was the day that Darth Sidious declared himself Emperor of the Galactic Empire, bringing an end to the Republic. Roughly a year after Ezra was born, his parents, Mira and Ephraim Bridger, began anti-imperial activities, hoping to make the galaxy a better place for their son. About 5 years later, in 14 BBY, Mira and Ephraim set up public broadcasting transmissions to speak out against the Empire's harsh rule and stifling oppression against galactic citizens. By 12 BBY, Ezra's parents were found and taken away by the Empire, leaving the young boy to live largely on his own for the next 8 years. To survive, Ezra worked as a con artist and thief, selling technology and reselling it on the black market while unknowingly using the Force to occasionally get himself out of tough situations. Eventually, our homeboy would come to live in the abandoned Lothal Netcom Tower E-272, where he kept his collection of stormtrooper helmets he acquired over the years. Number 3. Ezra had a run-in with notorious Trandoshan bounty hunter Bossk. One day, while at Lothal's capital city's spaceport selling tickets for an illegal sporting event known as Gladiator Night, Ezra caught sight of the Houndstooth, which was the personal starship of Trandoshan bounty hunter Bossk. Once Ezra met Bossk, the Trandoshan hired him as a guide to take him to Ake's Tavern, where Bossk was hoping to secure a bounty. As they reached their destination, Bossk sent Bridger inside to lure out his prey, Gonson Shifty Takaro. Soon enough, however, a confrontation broke out between Bossk and several assassins hired by an Imperial Security Bureau lieutenant named Jenks. During the fight, Bridger stunned Bossk's bounty, Takaro, while Bossk killed the assassins, only for Imperial authorities to surround them, forcing Bossk to leave his quarry behind and escape with Ezra. As the two escaped, Bossk was injured and convinced Bridger to help him by offering the boy all the contents of a strongbox he had aboard his starship, the Houndstooth. The two then worked together to foil and defeat Lieutenant Jenks, and, as promised, resulted in Bossk giving Ezra the contents of his strongbox, which turned out to be just 75 credits. Number 4. Ezra's first lightsaber was not a run-of-the-mill lightsaber. Among lightsaber designs, Ezra's lightsaber was quite unique, which was fitting for a character like Ezra, who was quite unique himself. His saber was a lightsaber blaster hybrid, which allowed him to engage in both lightsaber combat as well as firefights. The blaster component was built as a result of Bridger's lack of skill at deflecting blaster bolts with his blade. When his saber was in blaster mode, which required disengaging the lightsaber blade because the power pack of the saber could not handle both at once, it fired stun blasts at an enemy, giving Ezra time to escape dangerous situations. Additionally, since using a lightsaber during the reign of the Galactic Empire drew unwanted attention from Imperials, Bridger only did so as a last resort. The built-in blaster function of his lightsaber gave him the ability to engage in combat without revealing his Jedi and training identity, and it provided an advantage in confrontations that other Jedi would not have. Furthermore, the inconspicuous design and utilitarian appearance also made it much less likely to be recognized as a lightsaber. In terms of the lightsaber's components, it was built out of a number of parts given to him by different members of the rebel crew of the Ghost. Ezra's master, Kanan Jarrus, had spare lightsaber parts he acquired over the previous 15 years that he gave Ezra to use. Sabine Wren also donated modulation circuits and an energy gate, while the astromech chopper donated a power cell for Ezra to utilize. Hera Syndulla also provided Ezra with a blade emitter shroud, hand grip ridges, a blade length adjuster, an activator, and a blaster barrel. Lastly, unbeknownst to my boy Garazeb Orrelios, Ezra used several parts from the Lasat supplies. This type of lightsaber design would never have been built by Jedi during the days of the Jedi Order, as blasters were not typically condoned by the Jedi Council, but Ezra was not your typical Jedi Padawan, nor was he trained to become a Jedi during the safest of times to be one. Sadly, during a mission to Malachor, Ezra encountered the Sith Lord Darth Vader, which resulted in Vader destroying Ezra's lightsaber in a duel, forcing Ezra to create a new saber. Number 5. Ezra's strength in the Force allowed him to more easily connect with living beings. As Ezra's strength, training, and knowledge in the Force grew, so did his abilities to connect with living beings. On one occasion, he learned how to tame a horde of silicone-based creatures called Phrynox. However, on that very same day, he made a connection to the dark side and his powers were amplified to the point of being able to summon a giant Phrynox, though he quickly collapsed from the unprepared exposure to the malevolent power. On another occasion, while the Ghost crew attempted to steal much-needed fuel from the mining guild, Ezra managed to communicate with and acquire assistance from the leader of a pod of Purgil, which were a semi-sentient species of massive, whale-like creatures that lived in deep space, traveling from star system to star system. In doing so, the pod of Purgil helped the Ghost crew in escaping, while Ezra was also able to ascertain that the Purgil depended on the gas, Clauson 36, to survive and to travel into hyperspace. On several occasions, Ezra was also able to communicate with and summon Lothwolves, which were a mythical Lothalian creature long believed to be extinct. In one instance, while fighting to liberate Lothal from the Empire, Ezra was able to summon a pack of Lothwolves, which aided in the Ghost crew's capture and surrender of Lothal's governor, the Imperial Moff Arinda Price. Like animals, Ezra's Force abilities also allowed him to connect with beings he came across. Upon learning that Imperial Inquisitors were targeting select Force-sensitive children for abduction, Ezra was able to use his Force connections to calm a wailing Ithorian infant named Pipey, providing him and his fellow Ghost crew members with some time to escape the clutches of the Inquisitors on the planet Takabo. Lastly, after acquiring a Sith holocron and using it to aid in strengthening his powers and knowledge in the Force, Ezra learned how to completely control a person's mind rather than influence them, and force an Imperial Walker pilot to turn on his comrades and commit suicide during the Ghost crew's mission to spring the pirate Hono Ohnaka from an Imperial prison on Naraka. And there you have it. Those are 5 interesting facts about my homeboy, Ezra Bridger. As mentioned, Ezra is an excellent character and his growth in Star Wars Rebels is spectacular. The series finale of Rebels was absolutely amazing, and with rumors swirling about a possible return of Ezra in Star Wars stories, I'm holding out hope we've yet to see the last of the young Jedi Padawan. But what do you guys think about some of the facts we've discussed? What are some of your favorite Ezra Bridger facts or moments? Let me know down in the comments. If you like this video, please help out the channel by hitting that like button and making sure you subscribe. Follow the channel on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at SW Transmissions. Thanks for watching and stay nerdy.